Right, we turn to this now. Reverend Musa Xulu has resigned as chairperson of the Cultural, Religious and Linguistic Rights Commission, the CRL. He says his departure stems from concerns around the internal affairs of the committee. He raised doubts about how it was constituted and also flagged alleged interference by CRL chairperson Thoko Mkwanazi-Xaluva. The Reverend is joining us now for more on that. So it's a Section 22 committee that would have been announced to us in, I think, October last year. But yourself, Rev, good afternoon, by the way, and thank you for joining us. You would have received an invitation to join that committee or chair that committee maybe earlier on in the year. Take us through that process and what were the terms of reference that were given to you when you were invited?
Well, thank you, my brother. When I was appointed on the 15th of April, there were very clear terms of reference that I was going to conduct research and that I was going to call the meetings of the Section 22 committee and chair them, and that I was going to work with the Secretariat. And there was no mention whatsoever in the terms of reference of legislating, passing or constructing a legislation to regulate the church. Now, the entirety of the regulation of the church by the CRL or any other body outside of the denominations themselves is unconstitutional because there is a freedom of religion that is entrenched in the Constitution, which you cannot interfere with. And as we all know, churches are internally regulated for the past 2,000 years.
Yeah.
And there is no need for the CRL to want to regulate the churches. I thought in the beginning that we would stick with the original terms of reference, which would be to research and make recommendations, especially around the issues of some abuses. There are isolated instances of abuses in some churches, but they can still be dealt with without passing a special legislation for that. And I really had a problem with that. And the fact of the matter that actually, as a chairperson, I hardly chaired any meeting.
Yeah.
The chairperson of the CRL Commission would try her best to take over and just chair the meetings. Even that document, which they drafted on the 17th and 18th, I was not allowed to chair the meeting. She chaired it and she was participating in it. And I thought it was very unfortunate because they have been saying that the Section 22 committee is independent of the commission, but it's not true. It's in the way that it has happened, there's just too much interference with the work.
Well, we're going to come to those irregularities also in just a moment, but I want to just take you back a little bit. I mean, except for the fact that you knew of one member of the CRL who thought this particular committee was not needed at all, up until that point, did you think your appointment was above board? And at what point did you feel maybe this appointment is irregular?
Well, I don't know how I was appointed. I was called as early as August 2024 that I would be considered for that, and I just took it for granted that it was a joke. And then I was called to a meeting in Durban in March 2025, then where they said no, they wanted to appoint me. It was a chairperson and the vice chairperson of the commission. I said, fine. We spoke about the terms of reference in terms of what I was going to do and what the committee was going to do, which I found fine because it was more or less of interacting with the Christian sector and talking about the abuses and seeing how the church can empower itself to deal with the abuses where they occur. But what happened later was that when the committee was launched on the 1st of October, I was listed in the agenda, in the program to read the terms of reference. So I had the terms of reference. But as I was approaching the podium, an official came to me and said, no, don't read those terms of reference. There are new terms of reference. and then he gave me those terms of reference, and I was embarrassed because I had to read them for the first time in front of an audience.
So you were ambushed. Are you saying you were ambushed on the day of announcing the committee, and when you had to ascend the podium to read the terms of reference, you were literally ambushed and given new terms of reference?
Yes, I was given new terms of reference, which were now signed by the chairperson of the commission on the day, the 7th of June or something. But they were completely different from the terms of reference, which I had been having for at least 8 months, 6 months by end of September. So it was an ambush of some sort. So I read them, and there were new things there that I had never seen before and heard of before. Then I had to act it up, and then of course, I asked later what was that, and they said no, the terms of reference have changed. The issue of legislation came in those terms of reference where I was ambushed, and I thought that was unfortunate because the CRL cannot pass a legislation, or the parliament cannot pass a legislation to regulate the church. It's unconstitutional. I don't think anybody would entertain that. The church is an independent body, and the work of the CRL, as the powers of the CRL as per the Constitution, is to support, is to promote, as well as to protect the church, the religious communities, the cultural communities, linguistic communities, not to regulate them.
Yeah. At what point were you made aware of the unease expressed by the chair of the Committee of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs, before or after you were appointed?
At what point was I
aware of the unease of the chairperson of the Portfolio Committee on Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs, Dr. Zwelini Mkhize, on this particular committee?
I became aware in November that he was very much unhappy, and that he had tried to talk to the chairperson of the commission. And of course, that also the speaker had indicated that that process had ended in 2018 in terms of parliamentary processes and could not be revived. I spoke to the chairperson of the Portfolio Committee himself, and we WhatsApp messages, and he indicated that they were simply not supporting this. So then I knew that there was a problem, because then where is it going to go? Will it be able to stand constitutional muscle? Will the Portfolio Committee support this? Will Parliament even sit down to debate this attempt to regulate the church? The church has been self-regulated since it was incepted in the Book of Acts, chapter 2.
Now, did you raise this with the chair of the commission?
Yes, I raised a lot of issues with the chair of the committee. I even wrote her a letter on the 9th of November and various WhatsApp messages, as well as when we spoke. I had indicated my state of uneasiness from June, that I was suspecting that there's going to be a problem with the entire process, and I was uncomfortable. But eventually, what drove everything, confirmed that I should not be here, was the activities of the 17th and the 18th and the 19th of December, 2025, where I thought, no, this has been hijacked now. It's going in a particular direction, which I cannot, as an ordained pastor of the Lord, participate in a scheme which is aiming at persecuting basically the church. And I have been overwhelmed with positive messages from the church around the country, saying that they have been very uncomfortable with this apparent attack on the integrity of the church.
Yeah. Now, Rev, I mean, you're saying that you, since appointment, maybe can count in your hand 1 or 2 meetings where you would have been able to chair until the end, but the rest, you're saying you actually never even chaired them at all. Why did you accept this particular position if you were going to be treated like this?
Why did I accept the appointment?
Yeah.
Well, if you see in my letter of appointment, it's very good actually, because I like research, and the direction that it was going to take was that we would be dealing with the issues of, making the church to address the issues of some abuses that happened there within the church. You remember there was also a big Omotoso story and all of those stories. But as I said, when the terms of reference changed, the entire direction changed. So when you get a letter of appointment that says you'll be conducting extensive research on this and that, and then it says that you will call meetings of the Section 22 committee and chair them. But when I called the first meeting, I tried to call the first meeting, I was stopped. So I did not call any meeting. I was stopped, and I was told that no, the calling of meetings and the agenda of meetings and so on is going to be done internally. So I would also be invited to meetings like anyone, and there's an agenda that I have to look at with the members. But in most cases, what would happen is that the chair would come into almost every meeting and be there maybe until lunch, and then talking and addressing the members and chairing the entire thing. And then later I would then take over. So my role was very limited, and I felt that maybe I'm not wanted. And I did indicate that on the 9th of November to the chair that I'm feeling unwanted because I'm simply a front of some sort.
Because I spoke to the chair following the announcement that was made at Rema about this Section 22 committee. And she said to me on this show that the commission is really just going to facilitate book venues, give some secretariat support and so on and so forth. But the committee is going to be independently conducting its work. Did that happen?
No, as I've indicated, there's no independence. Sometimes you go to these meetings where you are called, and you come in there and you find that there are new people, and you're not told as a chairperson who these people are and why they are here. And they participate on the 17th and 18th. There were 3 ladies I have never met before. Well, I know one of them, but I didn't know that she's now a member of the committee. It looked to me that there was a lot of randomness, and there was a small cabal there of 4 people in the committee that seemed to me like they hold meetings elsewhere before they come to the committee to disagree with whatever directives we try to drive the meeting in a particular direction as per the original terms of reference. So the issue of the Section 22 committee being independent is just false. It never took place. It's untrue, and I think it's dishonest for anyone to say in practice that ever happened. And the most demonstrable thing was what happened on the 17th and 18th, where for 2 days the chairperson this time around was chairing the meeting of the writing committee team from morning to afternoon, and the following morning she does the same, and I was there as a spectator. So it's not true that the Section 22 committee is independent of the commission.
So all your research, all your consultations, all the inputs that you would have gathered and collated was completely ignored and completely set aside?
No, it wasn't. There was a meeting in which I presented, because that document which they presented on the 19th to the media, I don't know where it came from. but it came from somewhere. I don't know where. And when I first saw it in early November, I said, you can't regulate the church. There's going to be a problem here. But that was ignored. And then, of course, what then happened later was that repeatedly there would be these situations where you can feel that some people are doing some things aside and apart from the Section 22 committee. And there is an agenda possibly that you can see is happening, and that is being driven in a very, very aggressive way. But as an ordained pastor of the Lord, you know that this is not going to go down well with the Christians.
Yeah.
Persecution of Christians in many countries always start like this. Somebody comes with a crazy idea, very crazy, and pushes it through, and then maybe the government or the bureaucracy takes it over, and then they think that it's a good thing. It starts being spiritual, but very secular, and it goes to the extent of being physical. So I cannot be part of that kind of attack on the Christian sector.
Rev, let's wrap up that aggression and that physicalness. And you're saying the consultation process, you were hearing in some of the meeting, they said that they would actually bring in law enforcement.
Well, it's a standard. We were told that anyone disrupting a meeting of the CRL is open to arrest or no, if uncooperative. And there was already a meeting in Durban on the 27th, Friday, the 27th of June, where there were lots of police. I think I even took pictures. There were lots of police, and even on the launch meeting of the 1st of October at the Rhema Bible Church, there were lots of police there, and it was very strict to be admitted, and so it was going to continue like that. If the state say, go ahead and go to the communities and force this thing, you may expect that there will be lots of police, and those that are seen to be uncooperative will be dealt with. So it's an agenda that is happening for the first time in the history of the Christian church in South Africa, where outsiders and lay people are quite angry against the church, the Christian church, and wants to regulate it. It's very dangerous, actually.
Rev, let's leave it there. Much appreciated. That's Reverend Musa Xulu. He's now the former chair of the Section 22 committee appointed by the CRL to investigate the abuse of religion in South Africa. More news.